Okay, I'm making a quick video because I've noticed a major issue with people's papers that I need to address. Most people are not including in-text citations in their essays. So what I mean by that is, and I'm going to use, thank you, Megan, I'm going to use your essay as an example. Um, Look at, we have many of you will have a beautiful works cited page. I mean, look at this, it's beautiful. But the point of a works cited page means that you have cited that information somewhere in your text so that like there will be a point where you have the last name. So we could find the last names Boxall, Gilbertson, or Stein somewhere up here, but we don't have them anywhere. And so I can't pinpoint, oh, she got that information from this particular source or this information from this particular source. So that's the stuff that we need to work on. So, like at the very beginning here, so things like when a product is released, I'm not expecting you to know that. I'm expecting that you would have gotten that information from somewhere. And a lot of you are probably just paraphrasing, which means you are taking some of the information and you're putting it in your own words, which is fine. You just still need to tell us where that information comes from. And so all you do is, so a sentence like this, where it's highly, it releases to the public, and say this was paraphrased from Boxall. All we would do is put it in parentheses and put a period after. And I'm not expecting y'all to have any page numbers for this. Normally in MLA we have page numbers, but these are internet resources, so they won't have page numbers. So all you have to do is put the author's name. Some of you may decide to use quotes, and what you could do for that is you would just, I'm going to go down here, you could say, according to Boxall, comma, quote, and then normally you would have a page number and that at the end, but you don't have to do that. You can just put a period at the end. And then you could do it like this. So it's a similar way. So you just don't put it in parentheses. You put it in part of this quote. She could have said, according to Boxall's review of blah, 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 on September 20th, she could have put that, but it kind of messes with the flow of, and that's not really necessarily the way she wants to start her thing. So she paraphrased it. And actually, I don't know if this comes from Boxall. It's just a guess. Megan will have to go back and figure out which one it actually comes from. So another thing you could do is, I think a lot of you might be having problems was like, well, this is my opinion, but I put this part, I took this information from this website, but in part of my sentence, and in part of the sentence is my own opinion. So what you do for that is I'm going to go down here. So here's an example of how to do an in-text citation where you kind of interrupt it in the middle of a sentence. So you put the Apple Watch Series 5 is worth $399, right? So that's information I would not have expected her to have. And so this came from Stein. So look, I can go back and see it from Stein. That's the thing. It needs to match whatever is the very first thing over here. If you don't have an author's name for some of these things, it needs to match like part of the title of whatever it is. Or however you have put it on here, it needs to match whatever's the very first thing that's over here. So she puts the Apple Watch Series 5 is worth $399. So that part is from Stein, but then she has her opinion, but is worth the price. So that way I know, okay, this part is from Stein and the rest of the sentence is her own information, her own opinion. So that's another way to do that. If you decide to put a quote, you could do something like this, but you don't want to put the author's name in like according to Boxall. You don't want to put it in that sentence because you think it like messes with the flow. You could do I'm trying to think of what I would want to write. Some sources say quote, or if you don't even want to do a quote, and you want to do a paraphrase, you would just do a paraphrase. And you have to make sure that it's not too closely worded to the original. And if it is, you just use the quotes, and then you would put Boxall at the end of that. I just want to make sure you guys know that that is a major part of this essay, is that knowing where and how to include outside sources and how to properly and ethically put those into your own words or to quotes, just to use it for your information for this essay. Okay, hopefully that will help everybody, and won't have any other problems about that. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.